study about information literacy. And it was a modest, it was nothing impressive in terms of what has been already done in Second Life, so I'm not sparing you the details. But it was good enough, and it worked, and students loved it, and administration loved it, so it actually won a national award for a good teaching practice. So people, continue to have some reference. But now we go to something more interesting because in the previous year, there is a process going on about the digital agenda for Europe. So, how many of you are actually from Europe? Can you please press your E if you are from Europe, so that I can see how many Europeans we have around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I think around half of you are actually from Europe. Very well. The rest not. So I'm going to explain that. Someone is rushing ahead with the slides. Please don't, because you're spoiling it. So the digital agenda is actually the strategy of the European Union for using digital technology in general, so not just also mobile and internet in general, in order to facilitate growth, development, and employment in Europe. And this is a process which will define the strategy in all of the European Union for the coming decades. So, in the last June, there was one actual physical assembly that took place in Brussels. And there, during one break, I met with this lady, Natasha, who was actually from Greece, and she was living very close to my house in Athens. And actually with her, there was her son. And her son, Peter, if you can read the small letters down to the bottom of this slide, you can see that he is 15 years old, and his hobby is making applications for iPods and iPhones, because he loves programming, and his father was a programmer, and he's in his free time he has founded already a company, and he's developing it. So here's a challenge for you. How are you going to educate people and in languages, people who are going to be so proficient with technology such as Peter, because he might be something special and exception today, but this is not going to be so in the future. And so why are all these of interest and relevant to us? I think this quote says it all, and I don't know if you agree or not, but Stefan Heppel, who is a professor in educational technology, claims that ahead of us are going to be more change than what we've seen in the previous 100 years. Well, that might be an exaggeration, but still shows what is about to happen. And now there's a quick quiz. Can you recognize what is that President Obama is supposedly wearing? Please write in the local chat. Oh, very good. Very good. That's true, Chimera. And Jim, very good. Excellent. You got it. That's the Google glasses, the augmented reality glasses. That's true, something. And Nahiram as well. Yes, you got it. That's true. So that's something which is happening. But apart from that, a lot of us are already involved in e-learning. So a small quiz about MIT-X. So MIT-X is an initiative of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and apologies for the accent. So, how many have you heard? Can you please jump? Use the E and jump if you have already heard anything about MIT-X. Becky has, and Chimera has heard. Wilson, delightful as well. So some of you, but others of you haven't. Okay, so that makes the quiz even more interesting then. So MIT-X is an initiative recently launched by MIT to offer free courses to people worldwide through the internet. And so in the previous months, excellent examples, Google. So thank you, Carelia. So MIT-X started with just one pilot course in the last spring. So how many students do we think that got enrolled in this class? And also, yeah, you can. It's not just the number. It's just also about if you can get 60,000, Pete. Okay, a lot of them. 200,000. It's okay to guess. Just guess if you're not sure. 1 million. Okay, so we have a lot of. So you're thinking big. 600. Okay, quite a bunch, Charlie. That's true. And actually, it was 122,000. But what actually more than that. Actually, 160, I think. So it was, yeah, around that number. So you got it. But actually, that number is bigger than MIT Living Graduates. Again, so a pilot of one new initiative where they were able to attract more people than have ever done so far. So maybe they're not so cheerful and so many as the guys were watching football, but still a lot of people were passionate. And now, as we're starting and exploring the future of education, this is where I think things can go. And so we started on the bottom right. You can see Plato and Socrates in the 5th century before Christ, where education was for few and was personalized. So you had your personal tutor, and that was the education. So it was a personal education, but for few. And then, as we moved on, around the 10th century, universities started to got in the picture as well. And in the 18th and 19th century, we had the massification of education with the schools. And in the 20th century, of course, computers kicked in, technology, and hopefully in this century, we will be able to get back to where we started, but this time without having it just for the privileged few, but for all. So mass personalization and massification. And in this way, we can implement what is shown on this slide. So having a classroom, starting from left, going to the right, where we have a traditional environment where the teacher is the only one who is giving gifts, the gift of knowledge to the students, into an environment where slowly there is movement, like here, so we have actions, and the contributions are also from the students to the other students and to the teacher, and also from people outside the classroom as well. So, the future of education is envisioned, and as you can see and catching glimpses of what also institutions are now trying to utilize, is going to be open, collaborative, for the masses, because also of the demand, the huge demand there is for at least for higher education, but also for language learning as well, and also highly personalized as well, because we have now the tools. And now, of course, we're talking about 3D virtual worlds and how they fit in this scenario. So if actually the future of education is open, collaborative, mass, and personalized, what is the role of 3D virtual worlds? And now I'm going to challenge the most experienced users to share some of their knowledge. So I want you to have it, and also the skeptics that we have among us, because we have been around virtual worlds for quite a long time. So it's almost a decade. Second Life was founded in 2003, and at least in prime time since 2006. So what's going on? Why haven't virtual worlds have been an influencing and decisive factor for change and innovation in education, be it language learning or higher education? So please feel free. Cost. Okay, learning curve has Becky, and cost samples Guru. So feel free to write what you think. Cost again, Pete. Okay. People, of course, are not so open-minded, and it's difficult for them to embrace change and get out of the comfort zone. Time zones, yes, sometimes it's difficult. Collaboration across time zones is difficult. Interfaces can be challenging, indeed. Technological demands, technical issues as well. Indeed, the strategy behind education, what is education for? Also, connectivity, internet, all right? So the use of software such as open source. Okay, right, so you have already identified a lot of challenges that indeed happening, and that shows that we are not at the stage that Clay Shirky has indicated in his book Here Comes Everybody, where he's saying that when technology becomes boring, that's when actually things are becoming interesting, and social effects and changes are happening. For example, we can see that with social networks. Social networks are something boring. It's something which is not new. It's not innovative. It's something that everyone knows. Everyone is on Facebook. Everyone uses that needs at least LinkedIn and Twitter and so on. So once this is ubiquitous, then we can really have an effect and use it to influence things in society. So this is not where we are with virtual worlds, but still I believe that virtual worlds are a very important compound and important mode for the future of the future norm in learning. And why? This is, if I would take the book Infinite Reality by Jim Blaskovich and Jim Bailenson, if I could distill it in just one sentence, it would be that actually your own avatar can help you make a change in the physical, in the actual world. So the virtual world can have influence in the physical world. So if you learn something or unlearn something in a virtual world, you can actually take this behavior into physical world. And this is not a claim. This is an actual. It is actually proven by a number of experiments that they have done, which I can address if you are more interested later during the questions. And so when we're talking about virtual worlds, Seber already mentioned in her introduction about